Folks, I really enjoy conversations with folks who have been in the real estate game, frankly, longer than I have. We have the one and only Tom from Flip Anything USA. The reason I love speaking with Tom is he's, again, been in the game longer than me. He's done more things than me. And he's also been creating content on YouTube for 5+ years. So we've really followed the same path. We've earned financial freedom by doing the work. And now we are trying to educate, inspire, encourage others. But from time to time, we get frustrated because there are lots of charlatans out there, both on the too easy and too hard route. Thought we'd just have a conversation about what's what. What's going on, Tom?
Hey, Michael, thanks. And yeah, and I have the same sentiments towards you. It's, you see it. I don't collaborate with anybody, and I know you interview anybody and everybody, good or bad, and that's a cool thing. That's like news, right?
Yeah.
And what's your new show? Financial news?
Daily financial news goes live. We
Daily
do it live
financial news.
5 days a week.
Right, right. And so, uh, I've been doing this 43 years, and I know you're 30 something, and
Mhm.
I have a real diverse portfolio, and I've done a lot of things. And I started at 19. I was lucky. I got started really young, but I've
Yeah.
been a full-time investor for since I was 27. That's when I sold my business,
Wow.
cabinet shop that I had. And so I've actually been living and breathing, and now I have my students, and my students are doing the same thing. But to your point, everybody knows that anybody that does know me, they know I'm super critical. I've
Mm.
hammered on, all the names that everybody knows, Grant Cardone and a bunch of others. But
Mhm.
anyways, and I just can't stand when somebody is talking about making money in real estate or representing something that
Mhm.
they've never done.
Yeah.
That absolutely has no credibility in the business. Yet they represent that they do. They talk in very vague terms. They're not specific. And then what they do is if you ever notice this, Mike, and there's a bunch of them out there. Some of them I call them article readers.
Yeah.
They simply read articles, and all they're doing is baiting to get an email, and then they send their sales team
Mm.
overpromise and then they underdeliver, but they're one
Right.
off from it. So I don't
Yeah.
know. But
It's really funny when I look at the game that you and I've done, right? We both busted our ass to earn financial freedom, right? You did it as an entrepreneur, I did it as an employee. It takes decades. This is not get rich quick. When I look at the era that or the area that you and I have been playing in, and I actually go back to Carlton Sheets and Tom Vu. I mean, it's been a long time, right? The medium hasn't changed. There is a side of the fence that is preaching to the gullible that says, hey, it's easy, get rich quick, follow me, you know, how much are you going to make? 250, 500 grand, and you've done nothing. There's that side of the fence that kind of like the Pied Piper, everybody follow me. But something I have noticed, at least in the social media era, and maybe it's because they're trying to be news channels, is the negativity, the doom. Man, that actually annoys me more. Maybe I'm just used to, like Carlton Sheets and Tom Vu. All it's the same stuff, just not VHS tapes or DVDs. It's now, YouTube. But man, where the hell are these doomers and idiots coming from? These renters, telling people for 4 years don't buy a home. Those people piss me off even more.
oh yeah, no. And like I say, I know we kind of agreed not to talk, but I already said Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone would tell people to sell
Mhm.
their house. And at the times when they miss the most opportune time to hang on to their home, and and it's a bit hypocritical because I think that's what launched him with, he bought a
Yeah,
home and made a lot of money.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and the thing is uh, what's the worst part about it for me, Mike, is I have a lot of young people that'll call me, and unfortunately, so many of them they're jaded. They've already spent 5 to 8 grand. They
Mm,
borrowed the money from their mother-in-law, and I have a guy. I give this kid that borrowed his 2 grand from mom, 2 grand from his wife's mother.
wow.
They have a kid. They put 1,000 of their own, and they bought this piece of shit course from one of these guys that doesn't know shit about making money in real estate. And also,
Mm,
these guys don't mentor, by the way. They
mhm.
don't mentor because they can't. They can never stand on a stage with you or I and actually talk about real estate deals.
Yeah.
You talk about decades of experience, and like I say, you can go to some people's success page and you'll see there's no success within that story. It's pictures of people that have done nothing and made nothing. But the
Yeah.
people are so, they just glance over it. And but like you say, the article readers, that's not credibility. And but back to the doom and gloom you were talking about. There's an old saying, right? In sales, it's, you'll ruin your reputation faster than you'll build it,
No,
because
for sure.
bad news travels faster than worse. I mean, faster than good news. And
Yeah.
just like you're critical of somebody that does a bad job, that will destroy them quicker than them taking off. But
Yeah, it's really, I mean, you and I have, it's just weird. There's not many of us. And what do I mean by that? We are individuals that built freedom behind the scenes, just chunking at it every day.
absolutely,
Now, for whatever reason, we've decided to stick our heads up. We're both over 50 and we're trying to educate folks. We're we're Gen X and we're trying to inspire Gen Z and millennials. We're 20 to 30 years disconnected.
yeah, I
And
think I'm
they look,
a baby boomer.
no, you're a boomer, yeah. So again, they look at us and they just don't get it. They would much rather look at someone that's younger who's singing a good song
Yeah,
and follow them just by an anchoring or a bias. And
yeah.
as you've said, there are lots of people dropping four and sometimes even five figures on these yearly courses in mentorship and not getting any value.
And,
It's
and
almost a
no,
crime.
and the stupidity comes across, because I'll get some of these guys that have been in those, and they say, yeah, I'll say, well, what's the value? And I'll give people some free time, and they'll say, oh, well, it's got an ARV of this, and dude, it doesn't make any sense. I said, I don't want to know what it's worth after repair. Like, what's it worth right
Right
now?
now. Yeah.
When you repair it, what's it worth? And what are you paying for it? And it's
Yeah.
just stupid for somebody to factor in construction when they don't know what they're doing anyways. They'll just get themselves in a deep hole. And
Yeah.
actually, I've interviewed Spencer Cornelia, who's kind of
Oh
a
yeah.
guy that goes after, guys.
Yeah, he's a guru buster.
Yeah. He used to. He's kind of pulling away. But what he said to me, he goes, yeah, he goes, just he said everybody just makes it seem easier than it really is. He goes, that's how you make money. And so when you're honest and you say, like you just said, you got to bust your ass. We busted our ass. Listen, we can shortcut you. Mike and I can shortcut you to making it. And busting your ass, I like it. You
Yeah.
work hard, but busting your ass, compare that to working
Mm,
30 extra years in a 9 to 5 job that you don't have to. I've been
exactly.
self-employed as an investor since 27. That's when I sold my company. And I
Mm,
and I don't even feel like I've hardly worked a day in my life.
yeah.
Sure, I've been over leveraged and I've had some,
Oh yeah.
that's
It
been
happens.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're not in the game, you won't catch the benefit of timing once in a while, right? You agree?
Mhm.
You just get a hockey stick where things are going up, and
Yep.
you're holding property, you get the benefit of that. But if you're not in the
Yeah.
game, you don't get the benefit of that.
Yeah, well, let's talk about today because I know you do a lot in the commercial real estate space, office, warehouse, lots of things. And I actually, if you were to ask me, where's the generational wealth coming? It's not in residential. Residential has already had their pop. I think there's a lot of pain coming in commercial. A lot of, dude, so many idiots did the whole let's go to this GP and let's throw money at them and let's get, a four cap on a value add
Oh,
2 year bridge debt.
oh, yeah, the funds and shit are doomed. In fact, there's young fake gurus that have put funds together that have just performed miserably. I know
Blowing
you're
up.
one of them, because he
Yep.
openly said he lost $1 million on the one that he did create,
Mhm.
and got into flipping and lost his ass in that. And where you're a nice guy and you don't really call anybody out, but you just, you report the news, but you're very, tactful how you do it. Where I'm more like, don't listen to this guy. I don't know what he's doing, and I'm very, very straightforward. But that's what I appreciate too. I've always been somebody that it's like, just get straight to it.
Yeah.
I love to fight. I do. I love to fight. And I just do. But,
Yeah.
uh, but so back to your thing, and we may have some disagreements on this. And
Sure.
listen,
Of
a
course.
lot of commercial, industrial, residential, but I actually do buy a lot. I bought 3 houses probably in the last 4 months, you know,
Nice.
and probably 10 in the last year and a half. And so, and I've turned a couple of them. I'm about to turn one right now, uh, but I'm holding right now. I'm actually
Hmm.
holding some of these right now.
Yeah.
And but not every market's the same within the
True. Very
USA,
true. Very true.
and so I always say, I know you like to lot you look at a lot of nationwide data, and I do too on some things, but for the most part, I'm mostly concerned about 20 square
Yeah.
miles.
No, and that's what I hope people heard that, because again, you got a guy here who's got 30, 40 years experience, earned freedom at 27. He doesn't give a rat's ass about national numbers. He's worried about what I call a buy box, your 20-mile radius. That's all that matters, right? Economists like me, who's been studying consumer for 30 plus years, will geek out on national numbers because it's interesting to watch trends and call, the future. It doesn't matter. If your market is, 20 miles in Texas or Tennessee or Florida or wherever, go learn that. Go learn that better than anybody else, and you'll print money.
Yeah. No, you got to know your area. You got to know where you're at. And that's
Mhm.
why when you buy into this stuff that's like global, it's bullshit. I mean, and I tell people you don't need to buy far away. You can, have a specific area that you go to. I talk a lot about what I call a barbell. I buy up everything around my office. I buy up everything around my home because I can be around those shorts, and then I
Yep.
buy in between on the way back and forth. But
Yeah. I love that.
yeah, that the houses, I feel strongly that uh whatever the median value home is
Hmm.
in your particular area, and I always buy under market anyway, so I've got that hedge anyhow. But I
Sure.
think the stuff that's at the lowest end, that's still in a decent neighborhood, I'm not talking crime-ridden areas, I'm talking
Hmm.
about a decent home that's at the low end. Those I think are very safe in
Oh,
general.
I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, and they will go up. And to your point about particular areas, if like I'm in a blessed area, to be honest. But I've got Samsung, 20 miles away. I bought a place not too far from there, and again, they're going to probably employ 10 or 20,000 people out there at that plant.
Right.
And different directions, and these kinds of things that pop up, they're an economy of all their own.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the one thing I would love to ask you, because again, you've been through, gosh, I've been through three nasty recessions. You've probably been through four. You went through a lot. At least you saw the '80s,
I
right? And
started
saw,
in I started in 1981, believe me. And that
oh,
was,
81. Oh,
yeah, that's my first property, 1981. And I bought boom, boom, boom. I bought 100 properties between 1981 and 1990. And that's where I made my first $1 million. And
yeah,
and a lot of these deals were making $7,000 to $10,000 on each one. I had made a high of 300,000, 350 on one, 160 on another. I remember every detail of every deal I've ever done too.
that's
But
amazing. Yeah. So when you look out, I guess the thing that I want to kind of close with, because we've only got a couple more minutes, is getting wealthy still possible, right? If you were just starting today, if one of your kids was starting today, do you want people to think it's possible, or should they just give up and keep YOLOing and FOMO the rest of their lives, because we're going to be renter nation and it's just not going to matter? What would you
yeah,
tell a
no,
young person?
I have really strong feelings on that. Listen, these are the good old days. These will be the days that these are the good old days, right? Listen, it's normally every young person feels like, and I fall into that category way back when I was young too. It's got, oh God, grandpa paid $3,000 for his house back in 1945 or something like that. It's relative. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. So I would just tell you that no, that's a kind of it's just kind of the coward's way out to say, oh,
yeah,
it's too late. I can't do it. I can't make it. And you got to throw in the towel and you get an excuse. I have some millennials come and say, you baby boomers are ruining everything for us. That's all bullshit. Listen, we're going to die off. Our property's going to go on the market for sale, and you guys are going to have a chance to buy it. Doesn't matter. And
mm,
my doesn't matter how many tens of millions of dollars I make in my particular area. Doesn't hurt you a bit. This is
right.
here. You're wherever you're at.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I totally agree. A couple of things I really believe in. First off, real estate investing is always hard. People are like acting like today is like the hardest ever. I would argue that 1981 was the hardest. I mean, if you look at the affordability chart,
an
1981 is
interest rate
still the
was
hardest.
10%.
I think it
This
was 20% in
it was
81.
when it went as high as 20. This book here, this is
Yeah.
81 through 90. This is my first $1 million. I've got
Oh, wow.
land, I've carried notes, I got, there's 100 deals in this thing. And I can tell you, but back to your question or what you were saying, One of my guys just wrote me. He was making $60,000 a year at the church 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Got in my class within 6, 8 months. Guess what? He was able to quit his job. He's in Colorado, bought a one-way ticket to Colorado with his beautiful family of 4, and he doesn't even know when he's coming back.
Ah,
And he's got an assistant working for him. He's already made about $750,000 since he's been in the mentorship. He's already rolling. He's rolling like I was. He's 35, but he didn't start till he was 32.
yeah,
And I've got plenty of guys that have made over $1 million in the class, having their first babies. And you know what a wonderful thing. And that was me. I didn't have my
yeah,
first kid till I was already a millionaire.
yeah.
And so no, it's a cop out. It's a cop out. And that's why you young guys, what you have to do, if you're going to take a mentor, you need somebody like Michael or myself that can say, here, let me show you all the deals how I made my first million, how I made my second million, and on and on and on. If somebody can't show you in specifics, and it needs to look like, wow, that was like a killer deal, then you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
You gotta get a killer deal. So
Yeah.
gotta
Do me a favor, Tom. Where can people find you? Because again, what you do on your YouTube channel is you take people on head on. You like to fight, as you've shared earlier. So if somebody wanted to see some of the content behind the scenes, all of that, where should we send them?
Yeah, just go to flipanythingusa.com and or go to my YouTube channel. You can find me Flip Anything USA, and you'll see I've got, a playlist of fake gurus or fake and real gurus, and you'll see me tearing up guys, and when I say tearing them up, I'm just exposing the facts
Yeah.
of their stuff. When somebody says that you can do it, then they ought to be able to demonstrate that they've done it 10 or 20 times. But most of these guys, I can tell you, most of these guys that are the most popular, they can't show you that they've even made $100,000 on a single transaction. And if you can't do that, then you really got no business teaching other people. You're teaching them theory. It's theory to
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. At the end of the day, also, I want to point at the doomers, the folks that are renters, just reading stuff, trying to scare you into do nothing. These doomers are making upwards of 10 grand a month on YouTube and AdSense. They're getting rich while you're staying broke. Don't listen to them. Tom, you're amazing. Thanks, buddy.
yeah. Thanks, Mike. Let me say one more thing, Mike.
Please.
Just one thing. Listen, if you've applied that logic of that, oh, the interest rates are too high, or the interest rates are too low, the market's too hot, or now the market's too slow, you'll never make a deal, because applying that logic, there's never a good time to buy. And you see both those fakes on both sides of that too. But hey, thanks, Michael. I appreciate you.
Later.
See ya.